displayed. For example, David Bobby, University of Glasgow, Giltong Hong, Nuac, UK, and please mute your microphone when you're not talking. This ceremony will be published but if you wish your face is not to be shown, please turn off your video during the ceremony. If there are any requests regarding the mentioned, please contact us after the ceremony. Thank you. The time now is 3 p.m. Now the ceremony will begin. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining the award ceremony for 2021 University Student Essay Competition, Peace in Korea, organized by the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in the UK and Nuac, National Unification Advisory Council. I am Woo Jae Lee, today's award ceremony's MC, Group Assistant Leader of the Future Generation Committee in the National Unification Advisory Council in the UK. Just to give a short introduction to Nuac, for those that are not aware, Nuac is the constitutional organization to advise the President of South Korea on the formulation of peaceful unification policies. Korea has been divided since the end of World War II, and this division has been a flashpoint of various global conflicts. We invited undergraduate and postgraduate students to share their thoughts on how Korea can become one nation again, and the impact that reunification could have on a global geopolitics. The goal of this event was to provide a chance for the students to discuss roadmaps to permanent peace in the Korean Peninsula, also the role of international communities in pursuing permanent peace in the Korean Peninsula. We are grateful and honored to receive such interest from vast amount of students from different cultures and backgrounds to participate in this competition. We have gathered here today to celebrate the participation of the students and also to congratulate those that produced outstanding work. In today's proceedings, after opening, the award ceremony will begin by congratulatory remarks by Ambassador Gunn Kim. Then the announcement of prize winners will be presented, followed by the prize winners' acceptance speeches with their short summary of essays. After, judges' remarks will be shared by Dr. Yoon Jung Lee. Then the award ceremony would come to closing. Now, we would like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Gunn Kim, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, for congratulatory remarks to the winners of the essay competition.
Yes, good afternoon. I am Gunn Kim, the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea. I would like to sincerely congratulate the winners of the second student essay competition for peace in Korea. The essays we have awarded prizes have showed an impressive understanding of the context of the peace process on the Korean Peninsula. They showcased a fresh perspective, which was a pleasure to read. I really appreciate all the hard work that went into the writing such excellent essays. You should all be extremely proud of what you have achieved. I also would like to express my gratitude to the members of the National Unification Advisory Council. It jointly organized this competition. And thank you all the judges for taking the time to review the essays. The purpose of the competition is to stimulate the new generation of the UK on the Korean peace process. These include historic relationship between South and North Korea, as well as international relations surrounding the two Koreas. I hope that all the participants of this competition have learned the desire for peace among the people of the peninsula. Your work has also inspired an interest in Korea that lasts beyond this competition. Thank you all for participating in this essay competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Mr. Ambassador Gunn Kim. We will now go into prize awards presentation. This year, unlike last year's competition, where it was only aimed for undergraduate students, this year the competition had been divided for undergraduate and postgraduate students. The essays were judged in 2 stages, with each stage having its own panel of judges. In the first stage, submitted essays were evenly distributed among its panel of judges. Then the judges marked the essays based on the following criteria: meeting the essay objective and adherence to values of the Republic of Korea, knowledge and comprehension of the topic, intellectual skills of critical engagement and evaluation, creativity and originality, and scholarly practices. After all essays were marked, the chair of the first judging panel held a moderation meeting to select the best 13 essays. In the second stage, the panel of judges selected the winners based on the following criteria: topic, clarity, and effect. Out of the selected essays, 13 essays were chosen for 4 prizes: the Korean Ambassador Prize, Peace Prize, Reconciliation Prize, and Hope Prize. Please could the audience congratulate the winners with the round of applause after the winners of each category has been announced. Hope Prize winners are, from undergraduate, Molly Ann Carr, Yasmin Tarika Dave, Sine Kim, and Sungjae Park. From postgraduate, Isaac Jun, Yu Sung Jun. Congratulations. Could you please give a round of applause to the winners of Hope Prizes? Congratulations. The Reconciliation Prize winners are, from undergraduate, Ho-Jun Lee, Matthew Slight, from postgraduate, Hee-Chan Kang. Congratulations. Could the audience please give a round of applause to the winners of the Reconciliation Prize? The Peace Prize winners are, from undergraduate, Callum John Moran, from postgraduate, Jonathan Young. Congratulations. Could the audience please give a round of applause to the winners of the Peace Prize also? Finally, the winners of the Korean Ambassador Prize are, from undergraduate, Heidi Robertson, from postgraduate, Jae-Yun Kim. Congratulations. Could the audience please give a round of applause to the winners of the Korean Ambassador Prize? Many congratulations again to all the prize winners. Before the awards ceremony, among those who are able to make it to today's ceremony, we have requested the winners of the Peace Essay Competition for a short summary of their essay and their acceptance speeches. We will now hear the winners of the winners' summary and speeches. The order of winners' summaries and speeches will be undergraduate students first, then postgraduate students in alphabetical order. A quick reminder to the prize winners, please could you unmute your mic while speaking, then mute your mic after you are finished, please. Thank you. Could we please ask the winners of the Korean Ambassador Prize, Ms. Heidi Robertson and Mr. Jae-Yun Kim, to share a short summary of their essays and their acceptance speech. We will ask Ms. Heidi Robertson to present first, and we have been told that Ms. Robertson could not be able to present live as she could be traveling at this time. However, she has kindly shared us a video for a summary and speech. Ms. Robertson, are you available to share us your summary and speech live, or shall we play the video instead? If you can leave a comment in the chat box, we will proceed accordingly.
My internet's pretty unstable, so I'm not sure if it'll work.
Okay, so that's the problem. We will play the video instead. I reckon that's a better option. Would that be okay, Miss Robertson?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Fantastic, perfect. Here is the video.
Hello everyone. I'm really honoured to be a part of this ceremony and be awarded the Korean Ambassador Award for the Peace and Korea Essay Competition. Many hours of research and thought went into my submission, and it means so much for the work I put in to be recognised. The topic was a difficult one. As I'm not Korean, it felt strange to be giving an opinion on how to reunify the Korean Peninsula. There's been so much outside influence and interference in Korea and its history, so I wanted to research properly and give an opinion in line with the Korean people. The Korean Peninsula is a beautiful area, but it is divided, and North Korea is very isolated from the rest of the world. There is suspicion and a lack of trust surrounding North Korea, so I wanted to think up a few simple steps towards reunification. Trust, trade and travel. The first step, trust, creating a low-risk environment where open-minded cross-cultural communication can happen between its citizens, raising awareness and building relationships between the general population. The second step would be trade. Organising trade agreements and removing trade sanctions builds on the trust step, but it also builds the economy and makes the process cheaper for consumers, giving monetary incentive to all parties, but also resolving the distribution of resources that was not considered when the divide was originally established. And finally, travel. Potentially offering free movement opens up opportunities for the people to travel, searching for higher paid jobs, and a potential tourism boost, creating more income and job opportunities, similar to what's been seen in South Korea in the past 10 years, thanks to growing popularity of K-dramas and K-pop groups. To summarise, there's been many agreements made in history where there was once dispute and suspicion, and I anticipate the same can be done one day in the Korean Peninsula. Needless to say, Korean unification is crucial to eliminate the threat of war and offer its nationals better lives, advance the country, but also give the world a view of what the Korean Peninsula has to offer culturally. I hope I have the privilege of seeing reunification happen in my lifetime and the opportunity to travel all over the Korean Peninsula, experiencing its culture and breathtaking views. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this competition. I want to thank the NUAC and the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in the UK for creating the opportunity. I'd also like to thank my tutor, Kyungmi, for reading through my essay and encouraging me and my interest in Korean history and culture. My friends Hannah and Ruby, who had to sit through me talking about all the information I'd been researching so that I could process my own thoughts. And finally, BTS for starting my interest in Korea 7 years ago. BTS started my interest, but the Korean people are the ones who have kept it. 정말 감사합니다. 앞으로도 열심히 하겠습니다.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robertson. Now, Mr. Gunn Kim, please could you share your summary and speech for the audience? Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Gunn Kim, and I'm honored to receive the Ambassador Prize for the essay competition. My essay was The Benefits to Peace in the Korean Peninsula, a European Perspective. When we talk about peace in the Korean Peninsula, we have always argued from our Korean perspective. Unfortunately, Europe has not been too interested in this subject beyond nuclear weapons because it is not clear why peace in Korea helps Europe. Therefore, I think it is necessary to initiate discussion on peace in the Korean Peninsula from a European standpoint. My analysis aims to explore benefits that can exist in achieving peace in the Korean Peninsula to Europe, and I argued through three aspects: denuclearization, economic relations, and world peace. So firstly, denuclearization. It is a consequence and not a precondition of peace. Although the US has always adopted a maximalist policy of unilateral denuclearization, this approach has been often criticized as a strategy that is destined to fail. Given that North Korea's weaponization program was designed to safeguard itself from US hostility, it is ludicrous to expect North Korea to eliminate all their weapons under US threat. Instead, the international stage should engage more in diplomatic dialogue with North Korea to create a more politically stable landscape where North Korea can feel safe with nuclear disarmament. Secondly, economic opportunities for Europe. So Europe and South Korea have close economic relations. Recently, South Korea's economy has been doing very well amongst the developed countries and has risen to be a resilient economy at the height of the pandemic. Peace in the Korean Peninsula can bring economic prosperity in Europe through trade, more secure foreign investment, and through scientific collaborations. And finally, world peace. Europe has faced political instability recently due to the refugee crisis and terrorism from disputes around the world. This has not only led to social and economic damage, but also has given the rise to extremist groups and events such as Brexit. So Europe needs to promote world peace to address these problems, and Korea is arguably an excellent example to lead world peace. And as my concluding thoughts, I would like to end by saying basically what I learned through this experience. So from researching for this essay competition, I realized that there were a lot of important insights regarding peace in Korea that I hadn't known before. And likewise, public awareness only scrapes the surface of this issue. I think it is important, in order to accelerate peace talks, it is crucial to gain support by the people. In order to gain support by the people, it is important for the average person to be exposed to these deeper insights through public discussion, not just in Korea, but also in the international community. So I feel that it is our responsibility to voice these issues and drive public awareness. So I would like to thank the NUAC and the Korean Embassy for organizing the event. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Thank you again, Ms. Heidi Robertson and Ms. Gunn Kim, for sharing your thoughts, and congratulations again. Could we please now ask the winners of Peace Prize, Mr. Callum John Moran and Mr. Jonathan Young, to share a short summary of their essay and their acceptance speech. As mentioned previously, for the order of presentation, Mr. Callum John Moran, could you please present first? Thank you.
Yep. Hi, I'm Callum John Moran. I study Asia Pacific Studies at the University of Central Lancashire. My acceptance speech is going to be quite a bit shorter than everyone else's and more brief. I haven't prepared anything extensive, but my essay covers organizations such as supranational ones, like often overlooked supranational organizations such as ASEAN. I covered aspects such as German reunification as a model for the reunification of the Korean Peninsula. I looked into China and what issues they would have with a reunified Korea, with an American ally being on the border. And I also covered such topics as welfare deficits in South Korea that could worsen when welfare is required more for helping North Koreans. I would like to thank the embassy and the NUAC as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your speech, Mr. Moran. Now, Mr. Jonathan Young, please could you share your summary and speech for the audience? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well, very well. Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, Ambassador Kim, Mr. Lee, judges, ladies and gentlemen. I'm immensely grateful and honored, and thank you to the NUAC and the embassy for awarding me the Peace Prize for this second university student Peace in Korea essay competition. In my submission, I argue that the first step towards permanent peace and unification of the Korean Peninsula is to establish peaceful interstate relations between North and South Korea. The key to this interstate peace is to convince the North to sign first a peace treaty and then a treaty of economic cooperation with the South. A peace treaty would make it much harder for both Koreas to launch hostilities, subjecting them to international accountability. An economic cooperation treaty would then bind the DPRK and ROK's economies together, heightening the costs of initiating conflict on either side. Contrary to popular opinion, I assert that in order to convince the North to sign on to peace and economic treaties, we need to work to reduce the external and internal threats impending upon the DPRK. The current strategy of cornering and squeezing the North has not and will not work. If the Kim regime feels that its survival is threatened, it will not be willing to engage. Externally, the DPRK feels the threat of military intervention, as was the case in Libya, Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and the weight of international sanctions. Internally, there is growing economic troubles, especially due to the measures against COVID-19, which may foment popular discontentment. Through measures such as making an explicit commitment not to violate the North's territorial integrity, reducing US military presence on the Korean Peninsula, strategically lifting some sanctions, and fostering strategic partnerships between North and South Korean companies, we can help to dampen the threats which the DPRK faces or perceives that it faces. Once these threats are sufficiently dampened and reduced, the DPRK's optimal strategy for regime survival, as it desperately needs, will be to agree to a peace treaty and an economic treaty to shore up the gains they have made. After all, international recognition and trade links and vibrant economic flows are essential to the survival of any regime, not least the DPRK. It will be pragmatic in trying to engage once these threats are reduced and dampened. As a scholar of 20th century East Asian history, I focus on China and Japan, but of course that is also closely related to Korea. Korea looms very large in my research and daily thoughts. The brutal colonization and traumatic division of Korea are two painful experiences that the Korean people has had to face personally, and that scholars like myself are still reckoning with. Our goal, Koreans and non-Koreans alike, are the same: to one day see a unified Korea founded upon friendship, compassion, and unity, within a region characterized by peace and not strife. I believe that this essay competition is one step towards achieving that glorious future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Young, for sharing your thoughts and your summary. And also Mr. Moran, also thank you very much. Now, could we please ask the winners of the Reconciliation Prize, Mr. Matthew Slight and Mr. Hee-Chan Kang, to share their summary of the essay and the acceptance speech. The order will go again, undergraduates first, then postgraduates in alphabetical order. So Mr. Matthew Slight, followed by Mr. Hee-Chan Kang. Thank you. Mr. Slight, if you could share us your summary and speech first, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much for giving me the prize for this essay. My essay was based on the socio-economic lessons that could be learned from the reunification. Through the research that I did on that particular topic, I found, although there are many similarities on that between the two, because of the way that the North and South have been divided for such a more prolonged period of time, and the history and economic situation that's happened between the two, the reunification of North and South Korea would be much more complex. Also, the similarities between reunification in Germany is quite strong, with the feelings of the Korean people wanting to have a unified country. However, the Korean people are also quite aware of the counterbalance on the economic side of things as well, with the requirement to keep strong relations with the US and of course with the neighboring economic powerhouse of China as well. And the tensions between those two countries also seem to complicate the issues with North Koreans' reunification as well. The other main counterpoint as well is there are quite a lot of paradoxes of inter-Korean relations and reunification. and the completely opposing countries almost can become one through peace negotiations may not be able to, almost like social gains on both sides of the North and South border, be able to interact, to be able to integrate together on a more one-to-one level, rather than South Korea feeling like, in a way, more advanced than the North Korean side, whereas it was found with research, especially with Germany, that the socially, the prior socially, they were looked down upon, and it's still an issue even today. However, it's becoming more evident from the democratic side of what was the democratic side of Germany, that the East Germans, they were able to work within the socialist system to actually have gains, to be able to use their skills and to be quite progressive themselves within the framework that they have. And it needs that kind of look towards North Korea in that light as well. Although North Korea does have a highly structured regime there, that people can work within that regime to be able to work together and to be able to advance themselves, just as South Koreans can. And once there's a good understanding between the two social camps, so to speak, and they're integrated more on a social level, then maybe an integrated Korea could become an actuality.
Right, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Slight. Now, if we can ask Mr. Yichan Kang to share the summary and speech.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ambassador Kim, Mr. Lee, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely grateful and honored to be awarded the Reconciliation Prize in the second edition of the Peace Essay Contest. In particular, I would like to thank the Embassy of the Republic of Korea in the UK and the National Unification Advisory Council for the hard work they have put in organizing this competition, particularly amidst the difficulties of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. I'm also incredibly grateful that this competition has encouraged me to revisit the age-old question of how to achieve peace in the Korean Peninsula through a more academic lens. And though I feel that even after just writing an essay on this very subject, I only have a relatively superficial appreciation of the multi-layered Korean question, participating in this contest has reignited my interest in finding out how peace in the Korean Peninsula may be realized. My essay argues that building a roadmap to permanent peace in the Korean Peninsula hinges on three distinct but intertwined elements: denuclearization, sanctions relief, and human rights. However, it appears that the key cornerstone to any successful roadmap is to overcome the principal obstacle, the refusal of both Koreas to recognize the legitimacy of the other. It is for this reason that any negotiation on the three elements is plagued by suspicion and distrust by either the North or South Korean camp. Moving forward, South Korea and the US must ensure that any negotiation with North Korea on a roadmap to permanent peace is rooted in the spirit of mutual respect and proportionate bargaining. South Korea and the wider international community must ascertain how valuable denuclearization is for North Korea and the US, while weighing up how valuable US concession is for Pyongyang and Washington. Only by reassuring North Korea that there will be no underhand pursuit of unification by absorption can there be any hope of meaningful negotiation leading to a successful roadmap to permanent peace in the Korean Peninsula. Finally, on a more personal note, I would like to say that I owe an enormous debt of gratitude to my wonderful parents and my local Korean school, Bridgend Korean School, where I studied for 12 years, for helping instill in me a love for Korea, despite living in the UK for my entire life, without which my achievement of the Reconciliation Prize would not have been possible. All in all, this contest has not only been an intellectually stimulating one, but more importantly, one of great personal importance to me. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kang and Mr. Slight, for sharing your thoughts, and very congratulations again. Finally, from the Hope Prize, we'll invite the winners, Miss Yasmin Tarika Dave and Mr. or Miss Sine Kim, to share a short summary of their essay and their acceptance speech. Please, Miss Yasmin Tarika Dave, if you can share us your summary and speech.
Hiya. Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to give a little disclaimer that I'm really sick. So if I sound like nasally or anything, please excuse me. And yeah. But no, I wanted to just say thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to present research and essay findings to you all, and for this prize, especially about a complex and very diverse topic. As an international relations and Korean student at University of SOAS, I was really inspired to participate in this event, especially being able to problematize terms like peace and to gather alternative and lesser known opinions, and just amalgamate that into an essay format for you all. So thank you again. I guess the main starting point of my essay was to really make sure that it's understood that peace is not a static concept. I wanted to really bring out the idea that peace is very fluid, and once peace has been achieved, one has to think of what's next and if peace can be maintained, etc. So I wanted to make sure that all of that was included. I guess my essay adopts a more realist lens, I would say, and looking at how international communities can be shaped or are shaped by both the history of the Korean Peninsula, but also its future. And as a global historian, I wanted to really pick out different events and in both the US and China as global superpowers, and connect them and bring them towards the Korean Peninsula. And I guess my essay's main argument, you could say, is that it's hard to hold peace to some high altruistic standard, especially when it's been weaponized for other states' agendas. And I think one must always contend with the fact that as much as peace is sought, it's up to states to fulfill this promise. And despite regional hegemony, despite regional hegemony, it ultimately comes down to vested interests and agendas. But looking at the international organizations within the Korean Peninsula, like the Women's Cross, the DMZ, I learned a lot in how that frameworks for peace can be really gendered and exclude women, and about how maybe bringing women and all genders into the conversation could lead to some pretty diverse peace solutions. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dave. Thank you. Unfortunately, it seems as Mr. or Ms. Sine Kim could not join today. But however, thank you again, Miss Yasmin Tarika Dave, for sharing your thoughts, and congratulations again. We also would like to thank all the students that has participated into the Peace in Korea essay competition. We will now invite Dr. Yoon Jung Lee on behalf of the judges to share judges' remarks. Dr. Lee, I think you are muted. Could you please unmute your mic? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to all the students who participated in the second UK University Peace Essay Competition. I was impressed by the high quality of their writing and their extensive knowledge and understanding of the history of the Korean Peninsula, as well as the international relationships around the Korean Peninsula. Each essay gave an insightful and unique perspective on ways of achieving a peaceful unification. They also identified the key issues and challenges on the way to unification, and they were able to discuss these issues critically. It was particularly interesting to see how they choose to articulate the complex processes at play and turn them into a coherent account using their own point of view. While the standard of the essay was high, a few errors and factual mistakes were found by the reviewers. In most cases, the reviewers were lenient in that regard, as the essays are not professional policy documents. Rather, they were more focused on how students developed their thoughts and how effectively and clearly they conveyed their ideas with intellectual and scholarly skills. They prioritized creativity, originality, and rigor. I'd like to give special thanks to the Nuac committee members, Mrs. Kyung-sun Jung and Mrs. Jung Ah-pyo, and the Embassy of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Byung-sung Kim and Dr. Eui-jin Lee, for excellent and efficient support, which greatly assisted the teams of reviewers in their work. Most of all, huge thanks to ministers and Consul General Seung-shin Lee, who first initiated and enabled this essay competition to take place. Last but not least, thank you also to the Korean Embassy and Nuac, UK for holding the essay competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee, for your kind words. And also, it appears that, and I've been informed that Mr. Minister and Counsel General Dr. Seung-shin Lee has also joined today. Please, Minister Lee, I do apologize if this suggestion could be of a sudden one, but would you be able to share us your thoughts and comments of the essay competition and perhaps today's ceremony also? It would really be great if we could hear your thoughts and if you can share them with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to participate in our competition. And a special congratulations to all the winners. I'm very proud of you all. You know from reading your essays how much work and study went into all of your submissions. I hope you found the exercise interesting and rewarding as we found your submissions. I hope that through participation in this competition, you have developed an interest in the peace process on the Korean Peninsula and of Korean history and culture that rest beyond this competition. Thank you again for participating, and I wish you luck in your future studies. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Lee, for your very kind words. Thank you. Thank you all participants and moderators and all who have joined today. It is difficult to make the reunification process between South and North Korea to become a reality at an instant. However, we do have to begin somewhere to make this a tangible reality. One could have thoughts of that the unification process can be contributed by raising awareness of the discussed topic to the global audience. Thus, we would like to give thanks to all the participants for contributing to this process. Could we please ask the audience to give a final round of applause to all the students for their efforts? This time, please unmute your mic so the applause can be heard by the participants. Now the awards ceremony has come to an end. on that note, we are concluding Peace in Korea 2021 University Student Essay Competition. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe and goodbye.